There's a guy I'll call Ray. Ray worked in the same office for 11 years. Good guy. Showed up early, stayed late, remembered everybody's birthday, bought donuts on Fridays. The kind of man who made the whole floor better just by being there. Ray died of a heart attack at 54. Unexpected, no warning. Here on a Thursday, gone by Friday morning. At the memorial, his coworkers stood around saying things people say. Great guy, gone too soon. Wouldn't hurt a fly. And one of the men there, a Christian, had worked alongside Ray for 6 of those 11 years. Stood back in the back of the room and felt something he couldn't shake for months afterwards. He had never once told Ray about Jesus. Not once. 6 years, donuts every Friday, fantasy football, kids' soccer games compared, a genuine friendship. And he never said a word. He told himself he didn't want to make it weird. He told himself Ray probably already knew the basics. He told himself there would be more time. But there wasn't. Top of the morning to you. I'm Brian with Kingdom Family Leader. And this is day 5 of our series, Better Than Going to Church on Easter. 4 days ago, I asked you to sit with 2 questions. Why did Jesus die? And who in my life doesn't know where they're going? Today, I want to talk about the second one. Specifically, the man nobody told. Because there's a Ray in most of our lives. Maybe more than one, probably more than one. Here's what I've observed, and honestly, what I've had to reckon with in my own life. Most Christian men are not silent about the gospel because they don't care. They're silent because they're scared. They're scared of being weird, scared of damaging the relationship, scared of not having the right words, scared of being one of those guys. The ones who make every conversation into a tract. And so I wait for the right moment, for the conversation to naturally go there, for them to ask for some sign that they're open, and the moment never comes. Or it does come and we miss it. And then one Thursday they're here, and one Friday they're not. The enemy doesn't need you to be hostile to the gospel. He just needs you to be quiet about it long enough. Here's the thing about Ray's friend standing in the back of that memorial. He wasn't a bad man. He wasn't ashamed of his faith. He went to church. He read his Bible. He prayed for Ray. He'd prayed for Ray. He just never said anything to Ray. There's a difference between praying for someone's soul and actually caring enough to say something that might change things and be momentarily uncomfortable. And most of us, if we're honest, have stayed on the safe side of that line. Ray's friend carried that weight for a long time. And here's what eventually shifted for him. Not guilt, but clarity. He started thinking about what he actually believed. That Jesus rose from the dead. That everyone has eternal life. That the question is only where. That the good news is actually good. The best news anyone has ever heard. And that withholding it from someone you care about in the name of not making things awkward is not kindness. It's cowardice dressed up as consideration. That realization didn't wreck him, it freed him. Because he had other Rays in his life. Men he'd worked alongside, stood next to on sidelines, grabbed lunch with for years. Men who didn't know. Men he hadn't told. And he still had time. The resurrection changes the calculus on every relationship you have with someone who doesn't know Jesus. Not in a weird way, not in a tract handling, conversation hijacking way, but in a, this person I care about is headed somewhere, and I know something that changes everything. And love requires me to say it kind of way. You don't have to have a perfect presentation. You don't have to be a theologian. You don't have to have all the answers lined up. You just have to care enough to say something. The most evangelism that has ever happened in human history has happened through ordinary people in ordinary relationships who simply said, here's what I believe, and here's why it matters to me. And I care enough about you to tell you. That's it. That's the whole model. Today's question is the same one from day 2. But I want you to go deeper with it. Who in your life is Ray? Not a stranger, not a mission field in another country, someone you know, someone you have history with, someone whose kids you know by name, and whose work stress you've heard about, and whose laugh you'd recognize in a crowd, someone you haven't told. Write the name down, just one. You don't have to do anything with it today except acknowledge that it's there. Because over the next 4 days, we're going to talk about exactly how to have that conversation, how to build toward it, how to make the ask, how to do it in a way that's natural and rooted in a real relationship. Tomorrow, we're talking about the men in your life you've actually nurtured and what it looks like to finally say the thing you've been meaning to say. You be blessed.